Hi, and welcome to this video case study on the topic of environmental ethics. Lars is the CEO of Electronic Manufacturing Inc. EMI is a large manufacturer of high-tech wireless mobile devices. Recently, the government of Bulgaria, where EMI's principal factory and all of EMI's consumers are located, has brought in new environmental legislation that regulates the disposal of the toxic materials that go into the manufacture of electronic devices. This regulation makes manufacturers responsible for the recycling of any electronic devices that contain toxic materials, even after consumers have purchased the devices. This new policy will be costly for EMI. EMI will have to charge distributors, and thus consumers, a large refundable deposit in order to get the devices back. As well, EMI will now be responsible for the costs of recycling the devices. Sales will fall and costs will rise. EMI has no choice but to comply. Lars's job is to recommend to the board of directors of EMI how to lower the costs of recycling. The board will collectively make the final decision on what to do. Lars knows that in his recommendation, he should consider not only the internal costs to EMI, but also the external costs to society of the considerable pollution caused by the recycling process. The emissions from the recycling process will cause health problems for the whole country. Because the emissions will not break down, but instead will accumulate in the national environment, their cleanup will become a big problem in the future. Lars sees only two ways to proceed. Firstly, EMI could locate its recycling facility at its principal factory in Bulgaria to take advantage of the transport efficiency of employing backhauls of recycled devices from distributors. Secondly, EMI could ship the returned devices to Kangan, a country in the west coast of Africa where labor is much cheaper, and contract with local recycling companies to dispose of the devices. Bulgaria has strong environmental laws and a legal system that makes polluters pay for the damages that they cause. Its citizens earn high incomes, and any days that they take off work because of environmental sickness lose them a lot of money. Healthcare in Bulgaria is very good, but also expensive. Capital markets in Bulgaria are very efficient and interest rates there are low. The GDP growth rate in Bulgaria is also low because its economy is already large and highly developed. Returns on investment are stable and moderate. Kangan has environmental laws that are very favorable to polluters. Emissions are legally permissible and protected unless specifically forbidden by regulation. Kangan currently has no regulations regarding electronic waste and is unlikely to change this policy. Many people are unemployed in Kangan, and average incomes are very low. Healthcare is inexpensive but rudimentary. Capital markets in Kangan have not yet developed, so interest rates are relatively high, as are returns on investment. Kangan is starting to industrialize, so its GDP is growing quickly. So the question this case study leaves us with is, which option should Lars recommend to the board?